I was born right here in this building. It used to be called Rochester General Hospital. And right here is the source of my wisdom and joy, Joanne and Billy Rose. And my daddy used to say things like, people will show you who they are better than they tell you who they are. My mom was a stay-at-home mom because we had 8 children and I was the youngest of 6 girls and 2 boys. And we lived right here in this 12-bedroom mansion located in Beverly Hills. My dad had helped Gordon Parks and Isaac Hayes with the soundtrack for Shaft. Just kidding. We grew up straight country. You talk about straight country. I grew up in Beaver County, which is about 30 miles northwest of downtown Pittsburgh. And we didn't have any urban radio stations there, but we had WBVP, which was this AM radio station with talk radio and mostly rock music. I'm not really sure if they played any R&B music, but my dad used to have this console record player that sat in our living room. We had lots of albums. And we listened to that music every morning waiting for everybody to get ready for school. Because we had 8 kids to clear out 1 bathroom in our 3-bedroom house. And you had to get in and out. My mother used to do our hair each morning. We had a choice of 2 hairstyles, 1 plait or 2. I was Daddy's little girl, and he was my hero. My daddy loved music, especially jazz. We would sit there in the living room with him playing records on our console stereo from time to time, listening to Dave Brubeck, Billie Holiday, Lloyd Price, and other jazz greats. When I finally attended school, I was naturally drawn into the band. And of course I needed an instrument to play, so my daddy made that happen. I first started out playing the violin, and then eventually a clarinet. I was involved in the orchestra, the marching band, and the jazz band. We were raised on 3.5-acre Rose family homestead started by my great-grandfather here, John Rose. And every Sunday, cousins, aunts, uncles would stop by just to hang out. They'd come in and eat my mom's good cooking. She made a lot of pies, cakes, and things like that. And there was almost like a mini family reunion every weekend in the summer. And right here is my Aunt Sis. She was my dad's oldest sister. She used to stop by often sharing stories about our family through numerous photo albums and many boxes of pictures, sharing family secrets. My mom and dad used to say, she's making that stuff up. But of course I found out later on she was telling us the truth. And one story is, hush your mouth, child, you ain't ready for that. That's going to be in my book. While growing up during the 60s, 70s, and 80s, it was kind of a scary time, but it was also a very dynamic time. There was a lot of discourse going on in the world with the battle going on in Vietnam, Watergate, and the Black Panthers. But it was also an empowering time because I used to imagine me fighting alongside with Martin Luther King, Angela Davis, and many others. After graduating from high school, I attended the University of Pittsburgh, studying most of those years and majoring in math and statistics. I mostly stayed in my dorm room as a hermit, studying most of the time. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. After Pitt, many of my friends relocated to the D.C. area. So somewhere about 1992, we went down to go visit my good friend here, Kelly Gary. We were down there probably to party for some event like the Congressional Black Caucus or Howard Homecoming, something like that. But Kelly, she was all cultured and stuff and decided to drag us to this exhibit at the Smithsonian. Here when we got there, it was an exhibit for Harlem Renaissance photographer James Vanderzee. I had never heard of him before this exhibit, so we walked around looking at all the images on the walls, and the images really fascinated me because he had captured history from like the 1920s all the way up to 1983. And this is what springboarded me into looking into photography. My life eventually relocated me to Wilmington, Delaware in 1997. I was pretty much working all the time. Didn't have very much of a hobby or anything like that, but I was encouraged to buy a professional camera by my ex. He liked the way I took pictures. I'm not going to use his name to protect the guilty, but this motherfucker right here helped me purchase my first professional camera. Here I had this $2,000 camera and didn't know how I was going to use it. Motherfuckers started booking me for jobs. And I started venturing out, and I was attending many events around the Delaware area, where I eventually met Kenny Bond. He was freelancing for Next Level magazine. It was a local magazine featuring African Americans taking it to the next level. I eventually jumped on board. Here I was writing and photographing. I'm what they call a photojournalist. This introduced me to the power of the camera and the power of words. And oh, press access. You gotta love it. My first freelance job with Next Level was photographing an art show down at the riverfront where I met Paul Jones. He was a collector of African American art. After the show, he came over to talk to me. I had shared with him this was my first job as a freelance photographer. He told me to keep shooting and was very encouraging to me. I started attending all sorts of events around the Delaware area, where I met many people around the community. And I guess, as life goes on, you realize that there are certain things you do for a reason and some things you do for a season. And my season was complete here at Next Level, so I moved on. Kenny and I arrived in LA at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Ken Dudu, as seen here in his self-portrait, we ended up meeting up with Janet Jackson, Jermaine Dupri, that's when they were still together, along with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. We even met Judge Hatchett and Jermaine Jackson. Next day we saw Star Jones and Maxine Waters, and this was all during our Beverly Hills visit. It was so exciting, and I thought I had really made it. I continued with my photography around town, and I ended up running into this guy right here, David Howell. I credit him because he really helped me hone my technical skills, and he taught me the business of photography. We shot many events around the area, including many concerts and weddings. I eventually returned back to my faith and started attending Joshua Harvest Church, a very dynamic church that gave me an opportunity to exercise my Angela Davis dreams. We worshiped and did a lot of street ministry. We attended a lot of candlelight vigils, held protests, as well as helped stop the violence around the community. And while this was all going on, I was still capturing my events that really mean a lot to me, like the Clifford Brown Jazz Festival as well as the People's Festival. I met lots of people along the way, and I love what I do. I want you to sit back and relax and enjoy a tip of the iceberg of what I've captured as my life continues on my journey.
Been so many places in my life and time. I've sung a lot of songs, I've made some bad rhyme. I've acted out my life in stages with 10,000 people watching. But we're alone now, and I'm singing this song for you. I know your image of me is what I hope to be. I've treated you unkindly, but girl, can't you see? There's no one more important to me. So darling, can't you please see through me? 'Cause we're alone now, and I'm singing my song for you. You taught me precious secrets, the truth withholding nothing. You came out in front and I was hiding. But now I'm so much better. So if my words don't come together, listen to the melody, 'cause my love's in there hiding. where there's no space or time. I love you for my life, 'cause you're a friend of mine. Oh, and when my life is over, remember when we were together? We were alone and I was singing my song for you. And when my life is over, remember when we were together? We were alone and I was singing my song for you. Whoa, for you.
Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Suddenly, people, I ain't half the girl I used to be. There's a heavy, heavy shadow hanging over me. Yesterday came suddenly. Why did he have to go? I don't know. He wouldn't say. I must have said something wrong. Now I long for yesterday. Talking about it yesterday. Love was such an easy game to play. Now I need a place to hide away. Ooh, I believe in yesterday. Must have said something wrong. Now I long for yesterday. Yesterday, love was such an easy game to play. Now I need a place to hide away. Oh, oh, I believe. Don't you know I believe in yesterday?
feeling disappear. Come on over, baby. Come on over to me. Living in this world without you here. It's like trying to reach the heaven when I got no wings to fly. Only we can make this feeling disappear. Feelings disappear. Come on over, baby. Come on, baby. Come on over to me. Living in this world without you here. It's like trying to reach the heavens when I got no wings to fly. You can make this feeling disappear. Come on over, baby. Come on over, come on, baby.
Standing in line, marking time, waiting for the welfare dime. 'Cause they can't buy a job. Man in a silk suit hurries by as he catches the poor old lady's eyes. Just for fun, he says, get a job. That's just the way it is. Some things will never change. That's just the way it is. Ah, but don't you believe that? Said, hey, little boy, you can't go where the others go. You don't look like they do. Said, hey, old man, how can you stand to think that way? Did you really think about it before you made the rules? He said so. That's just the way it is. Some things will never change. That's just the way it is. Oh, but don't you believe that? Yeah. Well, they passed a law in '64 to give those who ain't got a little more. But it only goes so far. Cause the law don't change another's mind when all it sees at the hiring time is the line on the collar bar. That's just the way it is. Some things will never change. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is.
there in my shadow, to never have sunlight on your face. You were content to let me shine. That's your way. You always walked a step behind. See, I was the one with all the glory, while you were the one with all the strength. Yes, you were. Only a face without a name. I never once heard you complain. No. Did you ever know that you're my hero? You're everything I would like to be. I could fly higher than an eagle. Yeah, yeah. 'Cause you are the wind beneath my wings. Yeah. It might have appeared to go unnoticed, but Daddy, 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 I've got it all right here in my heart. Yes, I can say, and I know you don't know. I know the truth. I know you know the truth about it. I know you know the truth now. I would be nothing, nothing without you. You. Did you ever know you're my hero? Yeah, yeah. You're everything I would like to be. You're a part of me. You're a part of me. I could fly higher than an eagle. Cause you are the wind beneath the old man's wing. One more time, yeah, one more time. You are the wind beneath my wing, my wing. So Daddy, I remember you up on the stage singing your song now. That's why I used to take you and your brothers on the road. I used to carry all alone. But now I'm glad we can stand up and sing it together now. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. It's so good to see your dreams come true right here and right now, right now. It might have appeared to go unnoticed, unnoticed. No, it didn't, Daddy. But son, I've got it all right here in my arms, in my arms, my heart. I want you to know that I know the truth. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I will be nothing, Daddy, nothing. Zero without you.
you